Hey guys, today I'll be showing you a tutorial on how to build a accordion using React style components, useState and useContext. So this is what we're going to be building today. So for those of you who don't know what My Hero Academia is, it's a popular anime that's airing right now. So you can see that when we hover it, there's like this the effect, right? So when we click it, it shows the hero name, image, and a little description about them, right? So today I'm going to be showing you how to build this. And we're going to be using Code Sandbox. So here I already have the template, My Hero Academia Top 5 Heroes. So the first thing we want to do is we want to add the dependency, right? So we're going to be using style components. So style components. And I already went ahead and imported some images of the heroes, right? And so I put the images in the public folder and created assets, images, and I put the images here. I'm going to explain a little later why I'm doing that, but for now, let's focus on the folder structure. So in the source directory, I created a components folder, and in the components folder, I created an accordion folder, and in this accordion folder, I have my styles, accordion.js, and my index.js, and they're currently empty right now, which is fine. And I also have another index.js here that's in the same tree as the accordion, right? So I'm going to explain what that all does a little later on. So right now in the app, we just have the heading, My Hero Academia Top 5 Heroes, and I have a data.json file here, right? That has an ID, a name, image, and description of all the heroes. So you can kind of guess what I'm going to be doing a little later. I'm going to be mapping all these data onto our app. So since we added the style components, next we want to create our index, right? So here I want to import React from React. Now I want to export default function, and let's call this function accordion, right? And we're just gonna something like this, right? So, and then we are going to return something here, right? So since we are going to be using useState and useContext, let's just go ahead and import that. For now, let's just import a container and then spread out the rest of our props right here, right? And then let's close it like so and pass our children right here. So right now it's throwing an error because container is not defined. That's fine because we're going to be importing our container from our styles accordion. So now we hop into our accordion. We want to import style from style components, and then export constant. Here we're creating our style component container, right? Because we're exporting it, calling container, and the syntax for this is equals style.div, because we want to name this as a div. Now, if we want a visual on how this is going to look like, just give this a width of, let's say, 500 pixels, border 1 pixel, solid black, right? So right now we're not seeing anything, that's fine, but we have the container. Now the error is gone, right? So we want to import this to our app. I'll show you guys a neat trick. So in this index folder, right, we're going to do export default as, and we're going to call this accordion from our accordion, and then / index. So the reason I'm doing this is so when we import it later, we don't have to, do this. We don't have to say / accordion / index. So in the app, we can just say, I want to import Accordion, right, from my components and /. And if I say container, if I say Accordion right here, it should be a black box, right? So you can see a line right here, but you can see the width is 500 pixels, right? Because I didn't specify a height, it's just a line right now. So if we actually go back to our accordion.js and let's just give it a height of 600 pixels, so we have something to look at, and margin 0 auto, so it's in the center, right? So we have that. So we just create a container. So we have to now think like, what do we need in this container, right? So let's just start making some comments, right? So in the container, I want to have an item, I want to have a header, right? I want to have a title, and then I want to have a body. And inside the body, I have an image and content itself, right? Yeah. So let's just go ahead and import it first. So header, item header, title, body, image, and content. So right now it's throwing me a little error because it's not clear yet, which is fine. We just have to create it in our accordion. So I went ahead and copy and paste it here. So I'll add something visual to look at. So const item. And this is going to be style.div. Export const header equals style.div as well. Export const title. I want to call this, I want to declare this as an h1. Right? Export const body will be style.div. Export const image will be a style.image. Export const content will be style.p. Yeah, okay, so style.p. We have this. Let's fix styled. Okay, so we have everything so far, right? Boom, boom. Next, we need to create it now. Okay, let's just get rid of this. So, since we are exporting the accordion, we have to create the compound components of the style component. So we can do that here. We can say accordion item equals function accordion item, right? And we are going to destructure and get the children and props. And then I'm going to return something, right? I'm going to return the item and then rest props and children and item, right? So I'm going to do this for the header, title, body, image, and a content, right? So less typing for me, which is always good. So I'm just gonna, so we have the header, and let's just target this accordion header. And then next we have the title, right? TLE. And after the title, we have the body, right? So to body, and let's just get the accordion body. And then the body will have an image, right? IMAGE. I believe it's image, yeah. So image and image, right? So with the images, because it's a self-closing element, we can just do something like this. We're not passing any children to it, right? So next is the content, right? So content. Okay, so we have that. Everything is looking pretty good so far. Now we hop back to the app. So Accordion right now is returning a container, right? And the container is taking REST props and children, right? So whatever's inside this container will inherit whatever's in the as the children for container. So yeah, let's see. So Accordion, and then let's do Accordion dot item, right? Accordion dot item. Okay. Next, I want to import data from data.json, right? And let's see, let's say data.map, and then each hero and index, I want to throw this in here, right? So accordion item, and then we have the accordion.header, and then accordion.body. So in the header, I should see the accordion.title. Accordion.title. So let's see, accordion item. Where is this error coming from, right? So line 14, header. Let's just expected corresponding JSX closing tag for accordion title. Okay, you know what? Header, accordion.header, right? So in the accordion.header, we have the accordion.title. Accordion.title. Right, now we're going to get hero.name. Right. And because we're mapping it, each mapped element must take a special key. Okay, so I'm passing the key as the index. So you can see that the names are being mapped out right now, right? Endeavor, Hawks, Blue Genius, Xshot, and Merkle, right? So we'll hop back to data.json. We call hero.name. So each iteration in the map, we target the name of each of them. So that's why it's here. And then, so we have the header. Next, we have to get the accordion.body. Accordion.body. And then accordion.image. Right, so closing tag source is hero dot, I believe img. Yeah, there we go. And let's get the accordion dot content. Close it. And this will be hero dot description. Right? Okay. So right now the text is being aligned in the center, and I'm not a big fan of that. So let's go to our styles as CSS and just get rid of this text align center. And I do want this H1 to be in the center, right? So I'm going to do it inline styling, right? So I'm going to do text align center, and this should center it like so. And this is camel case, right? And the reason for that is because when we're using JSX, it likes to have inline styles with camel case, right? So right now we have all our heroes. So now we just have to go and style it. And let's do that. So let's see, accordion. Let's not give this a height, right? We don't want fixed height. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to get the image, right? I want to say width is 100%. I want to give it a height of 250 pixels. See how that looks. That's looking pretty good, right? Now for this, kind of want to give it some padding, say 1 rem, right? And then since we're giving the body padding, I want to give the header padding 2. So padding 1 rem. Cool. So this is how it looks like right now. And instead of giving this a border, I want to give this a box shadow. Let's say 2 pixels, 5 pixels, gray. Right, so you can see that this box shadow has a little gray shadow right here. Right? Okay, so next is this part, right? So here's where things are gonna get a little tricky, right? So right now we're returning a container. In here, I want to do something. I want to set active is active. Set. Oh no, let's call this active index. Right? Active index. Set active index. And I want to say use state 0. Right. Also want to import create context, and we're going to create our toggle context. So const toggle context equals create context, right? So here we have this, right? Let's see from my notes. What I want to do now is something a little different, right? And you're going to see here we're going to delete this line, right? We're going to say children.map, and then in here I am going to say each child and index, right? So we have that, and let's just map out toggle context.provider, toggle context.provider, and let's see. Children.map, what's expected on line 19. Okay, let's see where our error is coming from, right? So we return something like this. Now we can say children.map each child and index. Now we can just pass our container with the rest of the props and our child here, and let's just close it and see what we have. Check the render method of accordion. Okay, so let's see if this fixes it. Let's pass the index and then active index set active index. Okay, so expected line 21 toggle context dot provider. Create context. There's interesting. Let's see. The error seems to be here, right? So right now the error is element type expected. So let's actually give it a key, call this index. And I'll pass in the container here, close it, and pass in the child. Check the render method of accordion. Okay, maybe we delete this, should work. Nothing seems to be going on here, right? So recdom.render. Interesting. So do children.map each child index toggle context.provider, because I'm going to be passing in stuff here, right? So let me get this straight in. So it's the issue here, because if we say container and container child. So this works, but I want to pass the provider, right? And let me try again, right? Toggle context dot provider. Okay, so now it's working. I don't know why it wasn't working previously, but okay. So what I just did was I mapped out the children, so each of them will be its own container. So we can pass an index to it, right? Because it's a mapped element, we have to give it a key, and the key is going to be the index, right? And then the value is going to be the index, the active index, and set active index. Okay. Let's just see this. Maybe it's easier to see like this. Okay. Okay, so at the toggle context provider, and then I am passing in these values from the state into here in the provider. So what I want to do next is go over to the header, right? And then I want to get our active index, set active index, and our index equals toggle context equals useContext, right? And then toggle context. So right now we are getting our values, active index, set active index, and index, right? So in the header, here's what I want to do, right? I want to add an on click. So when I click it, I want to set the active index to our index, right? And in the body now, the content body right here, I want to say const index active index equals useContext toggle context like this. And now I say let is active equal if index is equal to active index. So this is going to be returning a true or false, right? So right here, we are going to say return if this active is true, then now we want to return the body, right? And then else null. So here you can see that our accordion is working, right? So what did I just do here in the body? I pulled the index and the active index from our toggle context provider, right? And here I created a variable that returns true or false. That's checking whether or not the index is equal to the active index, right? So if that's true, right, if return as active is true, then we want to do a ternary statement. So if this is true, then we return the body, else null, right? So if we hop back to the header, when we click it, each header we click, we are setting the active index to the index we click, right? So right now, if we click on this, the index is 0, right? So we click it, we're setting the active index to 0, right? So if the index is equal to the active index, right? So the current index is 0, right? And then if we click on the header and the active index is set to the index, then it matches, right? So it's true. If both of these is true, equals each other, then we want to return just that, right? Whatever we click. So we just created an accordion that shows one at a time, right? So this is looking pretty good. One thing I'm missing is this, right? So I believe in this example, we have numbers next to them, right? So let's see. So hero.name right here. I can also just create an h1, right? h1 that says hero.id, like that, right? Or because our accordion title is an h1, you can just reuse it and say hero.id, and it works the same, right? But right now it's on top of each other, and I don't like that. So let's change the styling of it. Let's head over to the header, right? We're going to be displaying this as a flex, right? Cool. And then I want to say margin right 1 rem. H1 margin right 1 rem. Cool. This looks a little better. And I also want to give this whole thing a cursor pointer, right? So we know what we're doing, pointer. And I believe we have a little pop-out effect like this, right? And to do that, it's pretty easy. In the header, we say transform. We want to say scale is 1. Transition. Let's just say all, and this is 250 ms ease in and out. Now when we say hover transform scale 1.05, right, we don't want it to transform too big, right? So we refresh the page, You can see that every time we hover it, it pops out, right? Pops out, pops out. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. What else are we missing, right? So, is this responsive? It is not. So let's fix that, right? So let's give it a max width of 500 pixels. Right, so now it's responsive, right? Because we're giving out max width, right? And one cool trick I learned, I'm going to style this P tag. So I'm give it a width, right, and 45 ch. Right, we want to get that perfect amount, right? So let's try like 50, right? 55. Let's say 50 is fine. Looks pretty good. Okay, you can see that it does this, right? So let's do at media when it hits a minimum width of 500 pixels. Then I will give it a width of 50 ch, right? But before that, I don't want. Looks pretty good. Okay, so let's give it a line height of 1.4. Right, and give it a letter spacing, 1 pixel, just so everything looks a little more spaced out and easier to read, right? All right, cool. So we have built our accordion using style components, useContext, useState, and this is the end product. So the font for this one's actually Poppins, right? So it's actually Google Fonts, and look for that. Okay, so Poppins. Okay, I believe it's 400, and let's just get 700. So I copy this, go back to the React, right here, right, and we go to public and the index.html. We can just make a comment that says Google Fonts, and we paste this here, and let's indent this one, and let's see, boom, boom. Go back to the styles like this, and font family, and you can see that our font changed, right? So just in case you didn't see, let me just comment this out. You can see the previous font and the new font, 10 times better, right? So this is our finished product. Let's open it to a new page. So My Hero Academia, top 5 heroes, right? We have Endeavor, Hawks, Blue Genius, Headshot, and Mirko. So you can see that it's working, right? And yeah, you guys can actually also set a fixed height on the body itself. So let me show you guys how that looks like. So in the body, right, what if I give it a height of 300 pixels? How would that look? Oops, that's too short, 500 pixels, right? Now we hop back over here. So this one. So if we give it a fixed height, it's not going to be like moving around so much. But because we're giving it a fixed height, there's some white space here. So it's up to you guys whether or not you like the white space or not. Me personally, I'm okay with it, but in this example, I'd rather not do the white space, right? So we refresh the page, it looks a lot better, right? So we're not having a lot of white space, and it's working, right? Yeah, thank you for checking out this tutorial. I hope you guys learned a lot. If there's anything that I need to improve on, please don't be afraid to let me know in the comments below. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. And let's